We've already given Michael the keys, Mom announced over Sunday dinner, not even looking up from her pot roast. Your brother needs a fresh start after losing his job, and that country house is just sitting there empty. I sat at my parents' familiar oak dining table, the same one where I'd endured countless family lectures over the years. Dad maintained his usual position at the head, arms crossed, wearing his signature disappointed father expression. You're never there anyway, my brother Michael chimed in, his wife Amanda nodding enthusiastically beside him. The kids need space to grow, and that place is perfect. We're thinking of converting the study into a playroom. Perfect timing, I thought, checking my watch. 6:58 p.m. David, Dad started using his corporate executive voice. Your brother has 3 kids. You're single, focused on your charitable work. That house is wasted on you. The irony was thick. 2 years ago, when I bought the property, they'd called it a foolish purchase. What does a social worker need with a country house? They'd scoffed. Now suddenly, it was the perfect family home for Michael. My phone buzzed right on schedule. Excuse me, I said, putting the call on speaker. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. Good evening, Mr. Thompson. My project manager's voice filled the dining room. I'm calling to confirm the final details for the youth center conversion. The contractors are starting tomorrow and the first phase of renovations. The pot roast fell from Amanda's fork. Michael's face turned an interesting shade of red. The what? He sputtered. I held up a finger, continuing my conversation. Yes, the dormitory wing should be completed first. The counseling offices and educational facilities will follow in phase 2. What youth center? Dad's voice boomed across the table. I finished my call with Mr. Wilson, then faced my stunned family. Oh, did I forget to mention? The country house is being converted into a residential youth center for at-risk teens. The permits were approved last month. But we already enrolled the kids in the local school. Amanda protested. We packed our things. Actually, I pulled out my tablet, opening a folder of documents. While you were making plans for my property, I was finalizing something quite different. The next morning, I walked into the headquarters of Thompson Foundation, my little charity work that my family had dismissed for years. The modern 6-story building in downtown stood as a testament to what I'd actually been building while they assumed I was just a struggling social worker. Mr. Thompson, my executive assistant Jack, greeted me. Your brother is in the lobby. He's been here since we opened. I glanced at the security feed. Michael was indeed pacing the marble floors, looking completely out of place in his expensive suit, probably bought with credit, knowing his spending habits. Let him wait for 30 minutes. I instructed. Then bring him to the conference room, not my office. Those 30 minutes would give Michael time to absorb his surroundings. The lobby's walls were covered with news articles and awards. Thompson Foundation transforms urban education, revolutionary youth rehabilitation program, shows 89% success rate. Social Impact Leader of the Year. Each plaque and headline told the story of what I'd really been doing while my family pitied my modest career choices. When Jack finally escorted Michael in, his arrogant demeanor had noticeably deflated. Your organization owns this entire building, he asked, taking in the sweeping views of the city from the conference room windows. This building, the upcoming youth center, and 12 other facilities across 3 states. I replied, not looking up from my laptop. Please sit. Listen, David. He started, his voice taking on that wheedling tone he'd used since childhood when he wanted something. About the house, we could work something out. Maybe designate part of it for your charity cases, and my family could still. They're not charity cases. I cut him off sharply. They're young people who need support and guidance. Something you might understand if you'd ever worked for anything in your life instead of expecting handouts. That's not fair. You've worked through 6 jobs in 5 years. I interrupted, pulling up his employment history on the conference room's large screen. Each time you've been let go for either incompetence or ethical concerns. Yet somehow, you always land on your feet, usually through Dad's connections. Michael's face reddened. You've been investigating me. The Thompson Foundation performs due diligence on all potential risks to our operations. Your plan to move into my property qualified as a risk. I switched the screen to show different documents. Here's something interesting. Your current debt ratio. 3 maxed out credit cards, a second mortgage on your townhouse, and private school tuition you can't afford. Were you planning to sell my furniture to cover your bills? How dare you? No, Michael. How dare you? I stood up, my voice remaining calm but firm. How dare you and our parents think you could just take my property? Did you think I bought that house on a social worker's salary? Understanding began to dawn on his face. The foundation, how big is it really? Last year's operating budget was $120 million. I replied, enjoying his shocked expression. We're the largest private youth services organization in the region. That empty country house you tried to claim? It's part of a planned expansion that's been in development for 2 years. But, you drive that old car, live in that small apartment, because I believe in investing in what matters, not showing off wealth I haven't earned. I pulled up another document. Speaking of which, here's an interesting proposal. The foundation is launching a financial literacy program for families at risk of bankruptcy. Given your expertise in accumulating debt, would you like to be a cautionary case study? Michael slumped in his chair. You wouldn't. Your choice. Option 1. You and Amanda take a full financial management course through our program, create a realistic budget, and start living within your means. The foundation will provide counseling and support. And option 2. I release the findings of our financial investigation to Dad's business associates. I'm sure they'd be interested to know about the loans you've been taking from company accounts. His face went pale. You know about those. We're very thorough in our risk assessments. I closed my laptop. You have until Friday to decide. The youth center conversion begins today, regardless of your choice. Mom and Dad will what? Try to pressure the foundation's board. Good luck. Unlike you, I've built something legitimate. Something that helps people instead of taking from them. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a message from Mr. Wilson. Construction teams in place. Local media arriving for groundbreaking ceremony. Now, I stood up, straightening my jacket. I have a ceremony to attend. Jack will show you out. Remember, Friday. After Michael left, I called Mr. Wilson. Make sure the media gets plenty of footage of the construction signs. Future home of Thompson Youth Center for Excellence. I believe my parents' country club friends will find it interesting. Looking out over the city from my office. Yes, I had one much larger than the conference room. I allowed myself a small smile. The foundation had grown beyond anyone's expectations, precisely because everyone underestimated the struggling social worker. My phone buzzed again, Mom this time, but I let it go to voicemail. The message was predictable: family obligations, Michael's needs. How could I embarrass them like this? I turned my attention to the live stream of the groundbreaking ceremony. Local officials were arriving, eager to be associated with the foundation's latest project. The same property my family had tried to claim would now serve hundreds of young people in need. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success, it's success that serves a greater purpose. As the ceremony began, I gathered my things to head over. I'd drive my 10-year-old car, wear my off-the-rack suit, and continue living in my modest apartment. But now everyone would know that beneath the humble exterior lay one of the most influential philanthropic organizations in the country. And my family? They were about to learn that true value isn't measured by what you take, but by what you give back. The headlines the next morning painted a picture my family never expected to see. Thompson Foundation unveils $20 million youth center project. Local hero, the social worker who built a philanthropy empire, innovative youth program, expands. Thompson's vision transforms lives. I sat in my office at the foundation's headquarters, watching the impact ripple through multiple screens. My modest apartment that my family had mocked was actually the entire top floor of another foundation building, equipped with a state-of-the-art command center for managing our operations. Dad's call came first. The Chamber of Commerce just called me, he said, his authoritative voice notably shaken. They want to nominate you for Humanitarian of the Year. They asked about my influence on your philanthropic vision. Interesting, I replied, reviewing our latest impact reports. The foundation's endowment had grown another 15% this quarter. What did you tell them about all that support you provided? David, he paused. The partners at my firm are asking questions. They want to know why we haven't been supporting your foundation's initiatives. Ah yes, you were too busy trying to help Michael take my property instead. How's that working out? The silence spoke volumes. The youth center announcement goes national tomorrow, I continued. Major networks are covering our innovative approach to youth rehabilitation. Your business associates might have questions about why you never mentioned your son's organization. What do you want from us? The executive tone had given way to something close to pleading. Want, nothing. But if your firm would like to discuss corporate social responsibility partnerships, our development team can send over the details. Standard donation levels, of course. No family discount. After ending the call, I turned to my other screens. The youth center plans had captured media attention exactly as intended. The architectural renderings showed a stunning transformation: state-of-the-art classrooms, counseling facilities, recreational spaces, and residential wings. The same property they'd tried to hand over to Michael would now help hundreds of troubled youth find their path. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time, but I let it go to voicemail. Her message was predictable. Family responsibility. Why didn't I tell them? How could I embarrass them like this? A notification popped up. Michael had registered for the financial literacy program. His credit card companies had started calling, and reality was finally setting in. Mr. Wilson appeared on my screen. Sir, the media coverage is extensive. Your family has been trying to reach the construction site. Perfect, I smiled. Proceed with the community presentation. And Mr. Wilson, make sure the cameras capture everything. The live feed showed a growing crowd at the country house, local officials, media, community leaders, and yes, my entire family standing awkwardly at the back. Mr. Wilson began the presentation, outlining the Thompson Foundation's vision for youth rehabilitation. Behind him, construction crews were already at work, physically transforming the property my family had tried to claim. Mr. Thompson's commitment to community service, Mr. Wilson was saying when Michael's voice cut through. But what about my children? He called out. You were promised nothing, I replied, walking up to the podium. This project has been in development for years. The cameras turned to capture the family drama. Dad stepped forward, attempting damage control. Son, if we had known. Known what? That your struggling social worker's son built a $120 million foundation, that the country house you tried to give away was meant to help troubled youth. That the son you dismissed as having a modest career runs one of the most successful youth intervention programs in the country. The reporters' cameras clicked frantically. Tomorrow's headlines were writing themselves. Perhaps, I continued, addressing the crowd, this can be a lesson about assumptions and priorities. The Thompson Youth Center for Excellence will serve hundreds of young people annually, providing education, counseling, and hope. It was never meant to be a family handout. Mom moved forward, tears visible. David, please. The time for family discussions was before you tried to give away my property, I replied calmly. Now, if you'll excuse me, we have a presentation to complete. The rest of the event was a blur of announcements, program details, community partnerships, expansion plans. With each revelation, my family's expressions shifted from embarrassment to understanding to regret. When the presentation ended, Michael approached, looking deflated. I registered for the financial program, he said quietly. Amanda and we're ready to make changes. Good. Our counselors will contact you tomorrow. I turned to leave, then added, oh, and Michael, start looking for a house you can actually afford. The foundation has some excellent financial planning resources. As I drove back to my modest apartment in my practical car, I couldn't help but feel satisfied. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong, it's showing them a better way forward. The final pieces were falling into place. Tomorrow the philanthropy world would be discussing the Thompson Foundation's innovative approach. My family would be facing questions about how they'd missed the magnitude of my work. And I would be in my office, continuing to build something meaningful, one life changed at a time. After all, true success isn't just about what you build. It's about the lives you transform along the way. 1 month after the youth center announcement, I stood at the construction site, watching the transformation take shape. The media frenzy had settled, but the impact continued to ripple through both philanthropic circles and my family dynamics. My phone buzzed, mistered from Mr. Wilson. First group of counselors completed training. Your family's donation inquiry. I smiled, remembering Mom's recent attempt to make a founding family contribution to the center. Standard donation procedures apply. No exceptions, I replied. The morning's paper sat on my desk back at headquarters. The Thompson Foundation's latest initiative had made the front page again. Youth Center Innovation Sparks National Movement. Our model was being studied by organizations across the country. Dad's law firm had finally made a substantial donation last week. At the highest tier level, their clients had insisted after seeing our impact metrics. He'd tried to schedule a family foundation meeting, but my assistant had directed him to our donor relations department. Michael had completed his first month of financial counseling. He and Amanda had sold their oversized house, enrolled the kids in public school, and started living within their means. The foundation's program was teaching them what our parents never had, the value of earning your way. My office phone lit up. Mom again. This time I answered. The Country Club Charity Board wants to partner with the foundation, she began without preamble. They'd like you to speak at their annual gala. They can submit a formal proposal through our partnerships office, I replied. Standard procedure. David, her voice softened. Can't we discuss this as a family? Your father's friends keep asking how you missed your son building a multi-million-dollar foundation, or why you tried to give away a property that was meant to help troubled youth. The silence was heavy with understanding. The youth center opens in 4 months. I continued. The donation portal is open to everyone, at standard levels. The partnership team will review the gala proposal, and Michael is making good progress in our financial program, like any other participant. And family dinners. When you understand that my success doesn't make my property community assets, we can discuss family gatherings. Until then, I have lives to change. After hanging up, I toured the construction site. The old country house was transforming into something magnificent. Not a family retreat, but a beacon of hope for young people who needed it most. Mr. Wilson joined me with the latest reports. Sir, the first round of youth program applications has exceeded expectations. Double the intake capacity, I decided, and set up a special track for families learning financial responsibility together. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Michael. Kids started public school today. Thank you for the wake-up call. At least someone had learned the lesson. Back in my office, I reviewed the quarterly impact reports. The Thompson Foundation's influence had grown beyond anyone's expectations. Youth Center would become our flagship program, a model for others to follow. The sun was setting as I drove home in my reliable old car. I smiled at the security guards in my modest apartment building, thinking about the hundreds of lives we'd change in the coming years. On my desk sat an invitation to next month's Global Philanthropy Awards. The Thompson Foundation was nominated in 4 categories. I'd attend, of course, in my usual simple suit, representing not just an organization, but a philosophy. True value lies not in what you possess, but in what you give back. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong. It's showing them that while they were busy making assumptions, you were quietly building something that would outlast all of you. And the property they tried to claim, it was just one piece in a much greater mission. As night fell over the city, I raised a glass to success, measured not in dollars, but in lives changed and lessons learned. After all, the greatest legacy isn't what you keep for yourself, but what you create for others.